I am Anna Benzark, and today we're just going to discuss the one and only Caitlin Clark. There's been a Caitlin Clark fever ever since she did amazing on the college women's basketball, and at the same time when she did what she did on the WNBA with the Indiana Fevers. So welcome everybody that's in here. I'm Anna Benzark from WSPN, Women's Prime Sports Network. And yeah, I'm empowering women. I am advocating for women in sports, and there should be more women in sports. Trust me, there should be more. There's a lot of people out there that are still a little misogynist when it comes to women in sports. They say that women can't be physical. They're not strong. They're not doing their thing. They don't dunk in basketball and whatnot. But I digress. I digress. That women are not meant to be in like high stake sports like basketball, boxing, and many other different sports. But today we're going to talk about the Caitlin Clark fever. You can chat down below if you want to, and get your discussions in. Because honestly, right now the Caitlin Clark fever it's out of hand in a way, but I do understand why it has gone the way it has. Her skill is phenomenal. She's an amazing basketball player. She also plays golf. She also is gonna be heading to be like one of the faces of the NFL flag, which that could help a little bit the NFL flag because at this point in time, mind you, NFL flag doesn't have enough viewership as it should. It's the only NFL version where there's actually females in there that actually have like a potential to be showcased more uh, than ever. I know there's this other uh, football league that has women in their, as I like to call it, sexy attire, which I don't know why they do that, but whatever. The thing is that sure there's that, but it's not major televised. It used to be, but it's not major televised. Um, and for a league to actually fulfill their stuff, they have to have more people out there getting their stuff ready and flowing. You know. So the thing is, some people argue that Kaylin Clark is, you know, being too much for the little things she has done. She doesn't have a ring. She doesn't have this and that. And I'm like, we can't disprove and not take to acquaintance uh, a basketball player just because they don't have a trophy or a ring or something. We gotta see that basketball player for their skills, by their skills. So we can't be going through all that kind of stuff without you know properly addressing things. Because mind you, and let me tell you, um, all Caitlin Clark sure has all the well put together skills to be recognized. And she still hasn't been recognized because it's still not her time. You know, I've always said that things are perfect. Everything that happens in life is perfect. There's nothing else that we can address ourselves into, but it's perfect. So, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark. Let me search here for a second. She's an American basketball player, and it's crazy the phenomenon that she has been doing. When we say the Caitlin Clark fever, in my case, I'm mostly referring to the whole phenomenon that Caitlin Clark is, and uh, I'm in for it. But at the same time, I'm a little like, how do I say this? Like, not devastated or disappointed, but at the same time, I'm slightly am, because I know that the league doesn't decide who gets televised or not, but having the Indiana Fevers games be 40% more televised than anything else and showcased on streaming and all that, um, sure begs the question if other teams will have enough exposure, you know? But like I said, leagues do not get to choose who gets to be televised or not. It's the broadcasters that decide that. Like, I'm gonna go cover this game. It's like when you see one of those sports channels that are not specifically tied to a sport, they just broadcast any sport. Because you're sure we have the MLB, the NBA network, and all those networks that they are specifically for a single sports. The Golf Channel, we have those channels that are specifically tied to one single sport. But then we have other ones like TNT Sports, ESPN. We have so many others, Fox Sports, that they have a broad, open spectrum of sports. And the thing is that they get to choose what games they're going to be televising more often than not. Fox tends to televise more NFL. Same with TNT tends to televise more basketball. Even though they are open to different stuff. And when you look at those games, you tend to see some teams more than others. Same thing happens if you didn't notice, if you've watched the Golf Channel, same thing happens with the Golf Channel. They always like to give a lot of camera to the top three. Always. It's always like that. Even on the highlights, they like to showcase the top three more than like some of the roster all spread together. And that's gonna happen once this new season of the WNBA comes in. That's what's gonna happen. We're gonna have all these games and matches, but we're gonna have more on the TV, specifically with ESPN. We're gonna have more of the Indiana Fever. And what does that mean? That means that the Caitlin Clark fever is gonna get not into a fever, it's gonna go into an epidemic or something. Because mind you, they're gonna be more into that than anything else. Caitlin Clark, the star from Iowa, she rose and then had this beef with Angel Reese that I don't understand the beef in many ways. Not in the sense of the beef itself. What I mean is, like, why has it like stretched this long? I it's mind boggling how they continue to like go like, oh, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, when you can't compare them to, because Angel Reese is just a defensive player. She cannot shoot for anything. Even if her life depended on shooting, she cannot. She misses the shots, but she can take a rebound. She can actually defense well. She can block good. Those are her strengths. And to form a team, you need all sorts of players. You need your defensives, your offensives, your point guards, your players that are gonna be super aggressive. You need lots of variety to form a well put together basketball team. But if you put all stars throughout the whole team, mind you, you're gonna be completely like out of it because every single star is gonna want to be the best, and we're not gonna have a good time with that stuff. So we have to always keep that stuff in mind in order to, you know, understand why certain players are like that. And then you might be asking yourself, but if Angel Reese cannot score for anything, she's not doing what she's supposed to be doing to be considered a good basketball player, why is she even in the team? There has to be a reason why she's on the team. It can't be out of spite or pity or something. Because they had to go through a tryout or something. So we have to keep those things in mind in order to understand um, how these teams go. Right now, Angel Reese couldn't do the finishes on the Unrival, but at least her team got the trophy. But it's kind of funny and kind of, if you want to put it in a way, like unfortunate for her that she left for the reason she had to go and couldn't go to the final. Um, and her team actually does amazing without Angel. So, what does that tell you? Tells you many things. Tells you many things, if you ask me. Many things. But if you take yourself a little bit of a time to like sit down and analyze a little bit, just because Angel Reese wasn't there and it managed to make the team slightly better, it was bound to happen. It's as I said before, everything is perfect in life, and if she had to leave, she had to leave. It was Rose's BC's time to rise. Chelsea Gray was playing amazing. Chelsea is like a great basketball player. She's a great point guard. And I'm wanting to watch more from Chelsea Gray. But you know, we have to like let the season unveil on ourselves. But we're gonna have more Indiana Fever, and the first game that we're gonna have, on the WNBA, the first game that's scheduled. It's a really interesting schedule. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why is it a really interesting schedule. All right. Let's unveil all these and get ourselves running. What is the first WNBA game to happen that is scheduled um on the 2025 season? None other than Chicago. Mind you, where is Angel Reese? Chicago. That's gonna be beef, beef, beef. For sure. That's gonna be a lot of beef. I don't know. You tell me. The next game is gonna be with Atlanta. Then the other game's gonna be also Atlanta, then New York, then Washington, Connecticut, Washington, Chicago. Um, that is pretty good. And I'm pretty sure that this season's gonna be another good season for Indiana Fever. But you know what? Even though Caitlin Clark right now is the whatchamacallit, the trendy basketball player at this point in time, what if this is just me talking as a not in the sense of the game itself or the league itself. I'm talking about ESPN or ABCs and whatnot. They are wanting to broadcast 40% more of Indiana Fever games. 40% of the league televised is going to be Indiana Fever. What if they put all that stake in there? They put it like this is gonna work. This is gonna make people watch more TV, more WNBA. We're gonna rock it. We're gonna be amazing, and we're gonna have more people eyeballing ESPN and ABC Sports. What if the Indiana Fever with Caitlin Clark Fever plummets down, and she has a slump, and she can't do those threes that she usually does? She probably is training real hard to get those threes on point like she usually does. I call her the Curry of WNBA, you know. And what if all that plummets down and it doesn't work? It'll teach ESPN that you can't put all your marbles in one basket, because if that basket breaks, you lose all your marbles. It's just saying. Just saying. But sometimes you do have to give it a shot. Give it a shot. It's like me as a sports journalist. I get myself out there. I start writing, and sometimes I just write about the ones that are trendy for a while. That's literally what I do for a while. So that is something to understand. And if it didn't work, it didn't work. Move to the next thing. Continue. Right? There ain't much to do. So, like I said, the first game to happen on Friday, May 2nd, 2025, is going to be two games. We're going to have at 7 p.m., we're going to have the Dallas Wings versus Las Vegas. We're going to have then the Brazilian national team with the Chicago Skies. And then we're going to have. Then we're gonna have on Saturday, May 3rd, 2025. We're gonna have Washington Mystics. We're gonna have the Indiana Fever, you know, and then we're gonna have Brazilian national team versus Indiana Fever, and those are things that as you've been noticing, there's a lot of Indiana Fever games happening, but you know, then at May 6th, it's Minnesota versus Lynx Minnesota Lynx versus Chicago Sky. Then we have the LA Sparks, which, if you haven't read, I did an article on Leslie Lisa, or Lisa Leslie, and I want. It's a really good article. I would love for you to read it. I would love for you to like comment on it and give your thoughts. Throw in the soup of Lisa. She was the first woman to dunk in the WNBA, and I wouldn't be opposed if you read it. I wrote it for you, folks out there. Eh? So there's new players that are probably going to be drafted to the WNBA this year. One of them is More. More. Let me get to her, where she's from. More. Okay, let me get things running here. So we have Georgina Morey. She is from the Hokies. She is Australian, and she plays for the Wildcats. And this is her last year, and she's moving on to the WNBA. There's a huge chance that she'll be drafted to the WNBA. She's a great basketball player. She was interviewed and done lots of things on ESPN, like those really full featured presentations. But I want to mention Amora here for a second, because I have a good thing that Amora could work for the Mystics. She would be great for the Washington Mystics. I also think she would be great for the Phoenix Mercury, and yeah, I think those were my two top picks for her move to the WNBA. I hope she gets drafted, because it's a pretty good miss if you don't draft uh Mora here, because I've seen her play, and Amora does pretty good with her playing and all that, and I think that she could be a good addition to the WNBA. You know, but what I wanted to mention, now that I remember, my mind's a little jumbaloo here for a second. What I wanted to mention from the Caitlin Clark fever is that no matter how many games get televised or streamed on ESPN Plus or any other streaming service that you can find your basketball matches, don't doesn't matter how or why um, your team gets televised, your favorite team. If the Indiana Fevers are getting 40% more broadcasting and more viewership on the TVs, on the streaming, and all that, if that's going to be a thing, One thing that you got to keep in mind, and I've read this countless of times on the internet, and I wholeheartedly believe this. Having Caitlin Clark being the face of the WNBA right now, this precise moment, and having her, you know, being showcased more, it's bringing a lot of green, moolah, cash, dinero, money to the league. You know, it's bringing more money to the league. And those are the things that some people just don't realize. So some stuff that people don't put in perspective in their own little head. You know, you have to understand that. Just like when the NBA happened, people like Larry Bird, people like Michael Jordan, um, and so on and so forth, and most of the players that happen to play on the uh, Space Jam, all those players were pushing the NBA to be to the point that it is right now. Sure, we had lots of good players in the '70s, um, in the '80s, in the early '90s. We had such good players, but nothing compared to what happened in the '90s with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan actually got a lot of people to love basketball, not just as a sport, but as a televised event, you know? And I remember when I was a kid and Michael Jordan would play, I remember like people gathering on bars, people gathering and saying, "Hey, let's go to the so and so's house and let's watch the Jordan game." And those things is what makes the league shine. And the same thing is happening with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark right now is pushing the WNBA the same way that Lisa Leslie did back in the '90s. Caitlin Clark is doing the same thing. And people hating on Caitlin Clark right now, it's mind boggling in a way. Because at first I was like, oh, shucks. Holy moly. They're really going to televise more Indiana Fever games? And they're not going to showcase a balanced, well put together broadcast of all teams. It's like the women's basketball from the NCAA. The second division games, they don't get televised. They get streamed. They get streamed. You don't find them on the TV. You find them on the streaming service. That's okay. Because I came to the realization after being annoyed, after being frustrated that that was a thing, I came to the realization because someone told me, "Hey, think about this," and I'm like, "Think about what? Wait, what you gonna tell me?" If a single player lets people that don't watch a certain sport talk about that one particular sport, it means that they're pushing that sport further into other eyes that weren't even thinking of watching that particular sport. Probably this person was a tennis watcher, and Caitlin Clark was like, boom, right in their face. Boom, boom, boom. And like, who the hell is Caitlin Clark? And when they check, it's like, oh, she's a basketball player. Oh, she comes from Iowa. Oh, she plays on Indiana Fever. Oh, I think I like her three shooters. I think I might go watch some more women's basketball. And boom, a new viewer. Innovative things are what keeps the sport alive. Check out The Unrivaled. The Unrivaled got 11.9 million new viewers watching women play basketball. And after that, I'm pretty sure more people are going to continue watching women's basketball. Right now, right now, the biggest female sport out there is basketball. I don't care what you say. I don't care how you're gonna describe it. I don't care how you're gonna deny it. I don't care what you're gonna have to say about it. I don't care. Right now, the biggest female sport out there is basketball. People say that women should play volleyball, that they should be in gymnastics, that they should um, do soccer or something like that. And I'm like, the biggest one right now is basketball. Women are more interested in basketball nowadays than what they used to be. That is crazy. That is crazy. Why? Because basketball, for the most part, has been a male dominated sport. Same thing with the UFC. UFC is a male dominated sport. They only televise or they showcase females going head to head on UFC every now and then. But we've seen people like Cyborg that can put a beating on the octagon. Like, women are getting more interested in more intensive sports than ever. And I'm all up for that. I am more up for that than anything else. I think that we should continue letting women be part of those sort of sports more often than not. You know, when Lisa Leslie got interested in basketball, she was introduced by a classmate saying, "Hey, um, come to the tryouts and let's see if you like this." I'm like, shit, I don't know. I don't play basketball. I don't play anything. I don't even know what organized sports are. You know, I've done recreational stuff by then, but she was not like into it. And she got obsessed with basketball, you know? And the sad part is, and this is where I'm heading at, she had to join the boys club to be able to play basketball more often than not. And the boys were so mean that they didn't want to pass the ball to her just because they thought she was going to miss the throw. She felt alienated because she was left-handed, left-handed. And she decided to learn how to dribble with the right-handed, play with the right-handed, and she became ambidextrous, you know? And by then, she got obsessed with basketball. She pushed basketball and she made women's basketball be recognized as a legit sport, not as a thing that just random women like to play basketball. But there weren't much organized leagues professionally speaking, And she got to the Olympics. She played high school. She played college. She did so many good things for the name of women's basketball. In the name of women's basketball, she was amazing, and she brought so many good scores, so many good things, and that's what it matters. It doesn't matter if your team gets televised or not. Why would we waste time televising a team that's not going to get the enough viewership? And we should be getting more people viewing your favorite sport, right? Hear me out. Hear me out. I might be talking shit, but hear me out. We should have more broadcasts of the teams that actually bring the viewership, so that when that happens, and we can get your team on the TV or the streaming service, we have enough viewership and discussion happening on social media and on the newspapers and on the magazines and on the online news websites. We need to keep the sport alive. And how do we do that? Again, by showcasing the players that actually bring the people. That's all we got to do, folks. That's all we got to do. We cannot deny that. We cannot look at it any other way. And that is a sad reality. Because if you want your team to be watched, we need more people. How do we bait them in? By getting the ones that actually bring the people. And unfortunately, Caitlin Clark is that one. Caitlin Clark is the one that can do that right now. right now. No one else. No one else. Sure. You can tell me Nafisa, you can tell me Courtney, you can tell me Chelsea, you can tell me Brittany or Brittany Griner or Stewart. You can tell me all those, any of those. And sure, they do bring enough viewership. But something about Caitlin Clark, it just packs the whole court to a degree that it just wants to break down. Even though she didn't win last year, but she did stuff in the name of WNBA that many players haven't done in a while. She's like the modern Lisa Leslie. She's the modern version of that, you know. And if you want to go head to head against me, by all means do so. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know down in the comics. In the comments down below, who is better than Caitlin Clark right now? Is it Angel Reese? Is it Chelsea Gray? Is it Stewart? You tell me. Come on. You tell me. I don't think there's anyone better than Caitlin Clark in the sense of packing the court. You know, no one. Sure, there's new players that could surpass that, like Paige Bookers. You know, like Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame. We got Lauren Betts. We got Anisa Morrow from LSU. We have Sarah Strong. We have Madison Brooker. We have so many other new players coming in. Olivia Miles. Kiki Eurofriend from USC. That's a good one. I have actually seen Kiki Eurofriend play pretty often because I do like USC a lot. And I think that the point guard Kiki Eurofriend, 6'3", she's a senior. She's done 18.6 PPGs and a 5 point RPGs and 1.6 APGs. You know, and even without Watkins, because Watkins had an injury, even without Watkins, she put that team out there and still won the game. She is a pretty good point guard, and she could be like the next Caitlin Clark. She could potentially. Potentially, she could be the next Caitlin Clark. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Again, I'll repeat myself. Who is better than Caitlin Clark right now? Not university or college or whatever you want to call it. Professionally. Right now. Right now. That could go head to head with Caitlin Clark and pack a court. Tell me right now. Right now. I'm more than interested. Tell me right now. And don't be telling me male basketball players, because I have all those type of people always coming in trying to compare that. Why watch that and look at this male basketball? No, we're not talking about. I want you to keep it on the topic. WNBA or any other professional league, you can't put it head to head to Caitlin Clark. But I wanted to keep it specifically to WNBA because that's the one that's being televised in this side of the world. Um, and I want you to tell me who is better right now. Who could do a better showcase than Caitlin Clark? I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a hard time finding that one basketball player that can go head to head. Sure, sure. Like I said, there's lots of college women basketball players that are actually doing phenomenal, and they can actually probably go head to head, with Caitlin Clark. But I'm talking professionally. Maybe Nafisa. Nafisa was the MVP on the Unrival, but it changes a little bit the schematics, because in the Unrivaled it's 3 versus 3. It's less intensive. In the actual basketball league of WNBA, we have 5 versus 5. You know, it's a big different. It's a different dynamic. Um, so I don't know. You tell me. Come on. I'm more than ready to go head to head with anybody right here, right now. Who could be better in packing a whole stadium than Caitlin Clark? I'm gonna go to X right now, and I'm gonna put in a tweet right now, and I'm gonna ask who could pack court better than Caitlin Clark right now. The Caitlin Clark fever is on, and it will continue as long as it will. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and thank you for doing what you got to do. We have good stuff happening with the basketball right now. Women's basketball is rising, and again, it's the number one best sport right now. And I'm not talking about best in the sense that it's a better sport. I'm talking best in terms of viewership. Like, if you count alone the Unrivaled, it's 11.9 million viewers that they had, counting the whole way through. So, Caitlin Clark brought a pack full of people. All those folks watching the TV. What else can you ask? You know, and I don't know what's going to happen once that new league comes out of the women's baseball league, which I've been liked. They've liked my um articles that I've written about the women's baseball. But I think that could be a turn of events. But I don't know. There's lots of sports that have a lot of viewership, but basketball for the women's basketball has surpassed so much, so much. So, anyways, empowerment in women's sports. I'm Andrew Van Zark. Catch you on the flip side. Bye.